more people online. Can you put this mic on, the roaming mic? Testing? Oh, yeah. I know, it's very different, isn't it? Hello, can you hear me? Are we ready to start, Jason? Yeah? So welcome everyone, and thank you very much for coming out of the cold. Unfortunately, a lot of people have actually said they're ill, which is no surprise and can't come. But anyway, we're going through this. We know some people are online, so thank you very much for coming online and joining us. Please feel free to put in some questions, and hopefully those will be noted. Nigel's looking at them online, and then he can just call out those questions for you. You're welcome to ask questions as you go along, and I've got Sam here who's going to be joining in with the presentation. So Sam, come up here, Sam. No. So Sam's going to be the leader this year. So we're just going to take the presentation in turn. So we'll do the presentation, and then just before the final slide, we'll show you the short film that actually Sam made on one of the trips, and then we'll have time for questions. But as I say, you're very free to ask questions as we go along. So we'll start, Jason, if we can, for the first slide. I think there's one before that, is there?
I think you're on
there. Oh, right, sorry. No, it's me. You're quite right. So, Malawi, if you haven't been to Malawi, this is where it is. It's a landlocked country, and it's surrounded by Mozambique, and it's got Zambia and Tanzania to the north. And it's about the size of England, and it's got this amazing lake, which is about a quarter of the size of the whole of Malawi. Beautiful freshwater lake. There's about 20 million people that live in Malawi, and about 83% of those are subsistent farmers. Can we move over to the next slide? Yeah, just to say that this is our 4th trip that we've done. It will be my 3rd that I've actually cycled, although I haven't been on my bike for a very long time, but I will get back on it. And Sam is a keen cyclist. But just to say, this really is a trip where we want you to enjoy it. It's an experience, it's not a race. So yes, you'll need to cycle, be able to cycle, and we will do training rides in advance of going. But it's not, it is difficult, of course, it's a challenge, but at any point you can get on a bus, etc. So our main aim is really for you to see the beautiful parts of Malawi, and there are many, many beautiful parts, and then of course you'll end up in our area and see our programs that we do. So it really is an experience. Should we go on to the next slide? And Sam's going to talk a little bit about the cycle journey.
Yeah, so this one, albeit our 4th year, we decided we'd change this route a little bit. So the second half is pretty much identical to ones that we've done in previous years, but the first one we thought we'd mix it up and just see some other parts of the country because it's so diverse and so interesting. So we're actually going to start off that little bit on the far left at the bottom, that cluster there, that's the capital Lilongwe. So we'll spend the first night there, and then we're just going to transfer just out to get out of the sort of hustle and bustle of it, just to a bit more peaceful, interesting part, and then we'll mount on the bikes, having previously, obviously, the first night kind of set up on bikes, and we'll hire everything out there, and we've got a really good team and mechanics and everything. And then we're going to head down to Dedza, which is the highest town in Malawi, so a bit of a climb, and then there's a beautiful descent down somewhere called the Gulamoti Pass, which is actually a 30-kilometre descent, which is just like stunning vistas and views. and then we'll work our way down. We'll go through all of this in more detail, but just to give an overview, down to this area, which is one of the most stunning national parks in the country, called Liwonde, and then up to the lake, and then back. So basically, we'll be doing 2 days on cycling, and then you've got a day off, another 2 days on, day off, and then another day or two. So you're kind of, although it might seem like a big enough distance to begin with, actually we're kind of breaking it down so much, and you're never doing more than a couple of days. And then it's also, as much as it's kind of a physical challenge for a lot of people, it's an opportunity to, like Mum was saying, just see the country. So we've kind of chosen a route that takes in like really beautiful, beautiful parts of it, and then the 2 off days, including kind of the lake in a couple of areas, and also that national park kind of gives you a sense of what the country has to offer. And then obviously we'll end up in the training village, and you can, stay there and see firsthand like where the money goes and visit the projects. Yeah, that's the next one. That's a little overview. I think if we just skip to the next one, because we'll go through those individually. So are you speaking that one?
So the plan is that we leave the UK on the 9th. Now, obviously, it's up to you if you wanted to go earlier than the 9th and have a few days there. Just talk to me about it and we can arrange that. But the group will leave, most of them will leave on the 9th of May. So that's arriving in Lilongwe on the 10th. And then normally we arrive around about lunchtime. So there's 2 main flights, either Ethiopian or Kenyan, that you can take, and they both arrive within about half an hour of each other. We'll pick you up and we take you to Land and Lakes. Land and Lakes are the organisation who are our backup. So they rent the bikes, they've got mechanics, they've got transport, and there's always a truck in the front, a truck at the back. And you'll get fitted on the bike, so you'll go straight from the airport to get fitted, and then we take you to the hotel in Lilongwe, so then you can just rest and acclimatise. But just to say, actually in May, it's their cool, dry season, so it's around about 20, 25, 26 degrees in the day, which is very pleasant, and then it'll drop down maybe to around about 16 or something in the evening. So it's very pleasant, and that's why we're choosing to go then and not the really hot season. So that's your first day.
So as we were saying, so on that second, the kind of main initial sort of day, like getting on the bikes, we're going to go to the highest part of Malawi just to get you kick-started. So it's a bit of climbing, so it's 650 metres, kind of slowly ascending, but the kind of general flow of the day is that we'll be waking quite early, so typically kind of rising around kind of 6ish, getting our stuff together. They'll be mounting the bikes on, having breakfast, having a bit of stretch together, with an aim of kind of hitting the road 7:30ish, just so that it's the coolest part of the day, and it just gives us ample time to not kind of have that feeling of like needing to rush suddenly. And we'll be breaking it up, like I said, so we're not going to be doing more than sort of 20, 25 kilometres at a go, and then, the van will be up there with some refreshments. So before you know it, you're kind of early afternoon, you're at the destination already. It's quite amazing how it happens. So this part that we're going to is, it's kind of the more mountainous area, so it's got Dedza Mountain nearby, which is like a really stunning area. And just before it are these amazing cave paintings, which I've actually never been to and I've always wanted to go, so I'm really excited about this. So we're actually we're gonna cycle to the cave paintings, aren't we? And then we'll transfer from there, and it will give us kind of, however people's energies are, but maybe like an hour or 2 to wander about. I think it's quite an extensive site, and there's a guide there, so they can sort of meander us through. And then we'll end up afterwards at Dedza Pottery, which is, it's quite an establishment. I don't know how long it's been there, but it's been there for ages, hasn't it? But for decades anyway, they've been making their own pottery, so that's quite an interesting spot, and they train up all the locals in making pottery, and you'll kind of find this Dedza pottery throughout the whole country, and we've got a load of it, and it's really stunning stuff. So that's a really nice, relaxing place to kind of end up for the first night.
So day 2, this is very exciting as well. So we set off, as Sam says, you know, we'll rise early-ish. It's when the sun tends to come up around about 6-ish, and again it gets dark around about 6-ish as a sort of guide. And 6 sounds really early, but actually it's not. You know, it seems quite normal. You'll go to bed a bit earlier. But we have a short little cycle ride from Dedsa Pottery before we get to the Golomotti Road. So this road is quite incredible. You get really beautiful views from it, and it is a 30-kilometre downward cycle. It's great that it's downwards and not upwards. Well, for me it is. And there are places that we can stop en route as we go down, so there's a lot of stalls and people make these beautiful little wooden carved, well, all sorts of things, cars and things. I have been told by Land and Lakes that apparently there is a waterfall somewhere sort of halfway down, which I've never been to, so obviously if that's there, we'll stop there. And when you get down to the bottom, there's one road that goes all the way to Balaka, where we'll end up, and it's relatively straight, so it's there's no hills or anything around there. So it's quite a nice ride, but altogether, as you can see here, it's 130 kilometres. And it is, you know, it's going to be very scenic, and I think most people will be able to make the 130 kilometres. But as I've said before, if anybody feels that they can't, you've got an opportunity to get on the bus. It's not a problem. And then we arrive in Balaka at quite a newly built hotel, and you can see the nice pool there, so you can just go straight into the pool and relax for the rest of the evening.
So day 3 is technically a cycle day, but as you can see, it's only actually 40 kilometres, so we'll blast through that pretty quickly in the morning, and it's a really chilled, pretty flattish little bit, so you kind of got like a half day, and this is arriving us at Liwonde, which is, I think, by far, I don't know if you'd agree, like the most stunning national park in the country. So like if we've ever got a weekend off or something, that is like the place to go. It's famed for having a massive amount of water, so like the wildlife is just like unbelievable. Like you're guaranteed to see like huge herds of elephant, loads of crocodile, hippo, the bird life is amazing. But they've also had a big program in the last sort of 10 years to reintroduce lion. I think they've got leopard now as well, maybe. They've certainly got cheetahs. So it's a really like, really special place to visit for sure. So we'll get there by time for lunch basically, have lunch there, and then you've got the afternoon as a bit of free time. And then included in this package, we're going to go for an evening safari. And it's up to you which one you do. They offer water safaris and land safaris. I think we would suggest like doing a water safari for the evening. Like it's a really special thing to see the sun go down and elephants coming and playing by the water. And then staying in the park itself, because we're the camp is literally within the boundaries of the park, so there's no fence, you know. So I think every time any of us have stayed, almost without doubt, elephants have just wandered by. So almost certain like that will happen. It really sort of, you know, you're very much in it. It's an amazing experience. So just sort of like hanging out in your sort of like condi in the evenings, listening to the sounds and seeing elephants come, it's like a really special thing. And then we've got a little bit of time in the morning because the following day is a day off. So yeah, I don't know if you want to talk. But, okay. So it's kind of optional, but I would suggest in the morning it would be your own money to pay for, but for $50 you can do a game drive. So like a sunrise game drive whilst you're in that place is like, it's just like breathtaking, and that's when there's more chance of seeing like cats and things are waking up, and that's when like hunts might be going on. Yeah, and then we'll transfer. Do you want me to talk about this bit? So yeah, so then it's just from then on, so we'll have like a lake breakfast, and then it's just over an hour and a half transfer up to the lake, and yeah, and then that's the rest of that time is free time. So that's kind of the last part of that day where we'll get to the lake, and it's, you know, up to you to just chill. It's a really beautiful part. I've not been to that particular bit, but I think you have. It's pretty lovely.
Yeah, you can do kayaking or you can swim. There'll be boats to take you out to various places if you wanted to do that. That won't be included in the price, but you know, it can be organised, or you may just want to chill. So the next day, it's a 100-kilometre cycle ride. Again, relatively straight. So we're heading up the Lakeshore Road, and then we end up at a place called Muirmission. Muirmission is a cultural centre, and it's a cultural centre. It's not big, but it does have a cultural museum there. So you can learn about the different tribes, you know, and the different costumes that they wear. You can see in the photo in the middle there, it's a Guluwankul, who's one of the spiritual dancers. And in fact, when you finish the whole of this program at Sam's Village, we'll organise for some cultural spiritual dancers to be there, so you'll see them live. But it's a very straightforward 100 kilometres, I would say. We do have someone here actually who's experienced, so if Heather Cummings has done it in previous years, feel free to butt in. But so that's a very straightforward ride. So the next day, so we are heading straight up again on the Lakeshore Road, and we go past this enormous baobab tree, which we think it must be at least 2,000 years old, very possibly older, but it's just incredible. Some of the baobabs there are just amazing. And then we end up, we go to a place called Salima. Salima's quite busy, so there are a lot of local cyclists there, so we have to watch the busyness there. But there is a lovely place that you can stop and have an ice cream. So we'll probably do that before ending up at Kumbali Lake Retreat. Kumbali Lake Retreat is actually based within, it's not a national park, but they're not allowed to disturb any of the planting there or the local animals. There's baboons around and so on. We do get told, you know, not to obviously leave food out. You don't want to encourage baboons into where you're staying. But if you like wildlife, there's wildlife there. And we will have the opportunity of going to feed the fish eagles, which is really very, very special. Actually, I think that's on the next slide, isn't it? I've just moved on one. So you're staying, when you go to Kumbali, you'll be staying in these very locally built huts, but they're very nice. They've got their own toilets and wash areas, etc. So we'll move on to the next one, which is a day off.
I think you've just explained that one.
Yeah.
So that's the day off. So that's a few images from that area. Yeah, it's a really special area. I mean, some pockets along the lake can get a little bit busy, like they're interesting and they've got fish markets and stuff, but it can get a bit hectic. So we've chosen this place because we discovered it, was it just a couple of years ago? And it's kind of just hidden around the valley, and it's basically the only thing there. So you've got this little beach, and then they've got kayaks that you can hire out and stuff, and it's just like genuinely really lovely people that work there, like really sweet local Malawians that are really happy to accommodate and take you out on little trips, and it's just a really nice place. Very low key, like nothing, pretentious about it, but just really, nicely done. So that's where we're gonna rest for a day. So the next one. This is our last day. So it's 60k from there. So it's the total distance further, but we're going to be doing a bit of transferring in the buses. So we're going to move along. The initial sort of half an hour cycle is going to get us to just a small carving, well, it's not a carving village, but it's a line of local sort of like crafters. So that's really lovely to like kind of support them if anyone wants anything. And then, yeah, so then we'll get back on the truck, and then we'll get to a point where we've basically got the last 50k or so, and it's over a few rolling hills. Then we'll get onto some dirt tracks, and then we've got the final sort of 5-10 kilometers or something as we turn off, which is the sort of entrance to our support area, our community that we work with. So that's like a really special time just to soak it in, and because now we've done this for a few years, like people sort of see us coming and they'll be very excited. And then we'll arrive at the training village that we've been building for over a decade, and that's when if anyone's studying there at the time, learning, getting trained up in different vocational skills, they'll be there along with any members of staff to sort of like really just celebrate and welcome us in. So we'll certainly have like a local band that will turn up that are like really amazing, and everyone just like loves a song and a dance. And then we can sit in the restaurant and have, a well-earned beer and a lovely feast. So yeah, that's where we'll sort of end up the cycle bit.
So then the next couple of days you'll be staying at Sam's Village, which is the training village. You'll have an opportunity to see around the training village itself. Then we'll take you out to see some of our programs, but the area that we support is very big, so it's 400 square kilometres, so we're only going to show you a sample of what we do. And we work within health, education, self-sufficiency and sustainable agriculture. So we'll just select some of our local programs so we can take you to see those and just see the impact that we're making within the communities. And that's really important because we need you to know where your funds will be going, because part of this obviously is not just for you to have a lot of fun, but that you will raise some funds for our programs, and that's really important that you see what we're doing. And next year, oh no, not next year, it's this year now, isn't it? This year we are building a safe motherhood unit and a special educational needs unit at the local clinic, so that will hopefully be on the go when you're there, and may even be finished, but that's a bit hopeful, but it'll be really exciting to show you that. So then after that, on the 21st, you're free to leave. So some people will be going, because obviously some people have work commitments, etc. But other people, they asked to stay on. Heather, who's here today, stayed on for, was it a week, 2 weeks? So she was focused on health programs. Some people stay on and want to travel. So, you know, it's up to you. Those opportunities are there. And if you want to do any of those, you can just talk to me afterwards. So I think now we're going to show a short film, is that right? Yeah. So we're going to show the short film, and then we'll come back to a slide, just talk through a few things, and then give an opportunity for questions and answers after that.
1, 2, 3, Mali! anamububuda satana anamufotokoza Yesu tukamba pano anzanga chitekete anamububuda satana anamufotokoza Wenda ndi Yesu amaenda ndi swaga Yekayo wenda ndi Yesu amaenda ndi swaga Wenda ndi Yesu timaenda ndi swaga Yekayo wenda ndi Yesu amaenda ndi swaga Yesu tunena pano anzanga ndi mapeto Bubuda satana anamufotokoza Yesu tukamba pano anzanga chitekete anamububuda satana anamufotokoza Yesu tunena pano anzanga kuchikweza anamukudzula satana anamufotokoza Yesu tukamba pano anzanga ndi mapeto
Most Western organizations bring a lot of money in Malawi, but they don't do sustainable development. The programs we do, they change lives for good. We have sent poor orphans to school, to secondary school and to universities, and you guys have no idea what it means. And when they graduate, you have just supported thousands of people. Even what we do here at Sam's Village, we are giving people skills where they go back home and they're sustained, they are self-sufficient. They will not come back to us to keep getting handouts. So we really very much appreciate. You might have come here to see Africa, to be part of the bike ride, but believe it, you have done more than that.
Anamububuda satana anamufotokoza Yesu tukamba pano anzanga chitekete anamukweza anamukutula satana anamufutukuza Yesu tugamba pano anzanga ndi mapeto anamukutula satana anamufutukuza
Those rides were cancelled, but we did have one last year. Not last year now, 2022, which was very successful. So just a few things that you might like to know. The bikes are hired out there, which are part of Land and Lakes, and they're a hybrid bike, and they're very good. But if you wanted specifically to take your own, you're very welcome to take your own. We have in the past taken some over and left them as bicycles for the bicycle ambulances. This year we have got an engineer who's designed a new design for the bicycle ambulance stretcher because the ones that we had no suspension and they were very, very difficult to pull. So actually we're hoping to have the prototype done, take it out with us, and someone, who may be Sam, might be pulling the stretcher behind all the way. So we'll... Yeah. So obviously it's up to you to keep yourself safe. We can keep you as safe as we can, but we will give you a list of things to take out, which will include things like your bicycle helmet, water bottle, very important that you drink as much water as you can. We'll have loads of water on board the vehicles. And whatever other things, saddles, you can take your own saddle from your bike and get it fixed on, or anything that's going to make you more comfortable, take it along. As I said before, the weather is generally around about 15 or so in the morning, and then it'll go up to 25, 27, which is very nice heat, but of course when you're out exposed it is quite hot when you're cycling, so of course you need to take sun cream and all those sorts of things. I have found you can get these sort of towels that absorb water, cold water, and they keep cool for ages, which are really, really good just to put around your neck if you're getting a bit hot. The cost of the cycle is $1,650, and that covers all your internal transport, obviously picking you up from the airport, and the actual ride itself, taking you back to the airport. It covers all your accommodation, your food, the safari, that's just one safari, and the bike hire. And you can pay that in instalments if you wish. The cost doesn't include flights, insurance, and a $50 visa entry. And actually I should have put on there, it doesn't put anti-malarials, so that would be an extra. We would recommend Malarone if that's the one that has really the least side effects. But to be honest, because it's the cooler, dry season, there's not so much malaria around, but still, you know, it's good to take your antimalarials. We will organise some training rides before you go, so you feel confident. And then we do say to people, if you can build up your cycling so that you're able to cycle up to about 60 kilometres in the day, then that's good. You've got a good start there. So now is an opportunity to ask any questions. So I don't know if anyone has any questions. None online? Hold on, I've just got to give this.
Just about the bikes, really. Some of them looked as though they were mountain bikes or gravel bikes. What are they? You say hybrids.
So that was a question about the bikes. I think, to my knowledge, they're all more like mountain bikes out there. A couple of those you could see in the film, people had brought out. They preferred a sort of like road bike with a wider tyre clearance. But to be honest, because we do go on at least 3 sections where it is gravelly / sand, it's quite nice to have those ones with a bit of suspension. So if you're used to a road bike like I am as well, switching to these suddenly feels like night and day, and it's like, it's quite heavy, it feels like, but actually for sort of your own comfort on the road, and also just the ease of them being there. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be 90-something% tarmac, like pretty good tarmac, which you can see from that. You will get sort of potholes and, you know, snakes in the road, as you see from that. But yeah, and then there'll be, like I said, at least 3 sections where we have to go through like the odd 10 kilometers or something, where it's, yeah, more sort of sand and gravel. Hence, I think they're actually, and they're good bikes. I can't remember the make. They might be, are they Trek? All right, okay.
Yeah, the bikes are, they're Trek. They renew them fairly frequently. They're a standard Trek mountain bike, but without the, they're not without the knobbly tyres, because they're really more hybrid, suited for road work. What I would suggest is, if you're familiar with them, it's worth taking a few things that you use yourself. I mean, like when I go on it, I take the bar ends, for example. You know, they'll set the bikes up for you, and a bar end, if you don't know, is a bit, goes on the end of the handlebar and points upwards, but it just gives you a different shape to hold. If you're cycling all day or half a day, you're not always in this position. You can move your hand to that position, you know, and I find that helps. So that's what they're like, but they're very good. No.
Any? No, there's other questions.
Still on the topic of bikes, do they have all sizes, extra small and everything? Yeah.
We know the same company that we get the bikes from after the previous one were doing a huge one where they had 50 people plus, and they catered for all of them. Like it was thin pickings by the end of that, but like they've got enough bikes for if there were 50 different sites, and there was, you know, huge people and tiny people and everything in the middle. So I think, yeah, it'd be fine with bike size.
So Land and Lakes asked me to ask everyone what your inside leg is, so they can, you know, prepare in advance. I mean, the only thing is that we had, Henk was very tall, wasn't he? It was quite, yeah, something, so it was difficult, that tall. Yeah, but yeah, they'll accommodate that. Steve.
So in the couple of days at the end and you're in the village, are you looking, or can you actually paint walls and do useful things too?
Well, it's up to you really, but I would say it's worth going around to see the programmes because it gives you an idea of where the money's going. But if you want to stay longer than that, then there's plenty of work that can be done. There's plenty of things like painting or gardening or just fixing things. I know Jason's thinking of coming, and I've got a whole list for him already. But yeah, there's plenty to do.
As well as the cost you've outlined, is there an expectation of how much fundraising you want us to do or we should do?
Yeah, good question. I should have put that on actually. So we asked people to raise a minimum of 1,000, and which sounds quite a lot, but actually it's not too bad. You know, you could just do a couple of events, put it out there on social media, etc. And yeah, we had some riders last time who were, yeah, their friends were very generous, so we were very blessed with that. But yeah, a minimum of 1,000. Jason, do you have any questions?
Do you get the visa on arrival?
Sorry?
Do you get a visa on arrival?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, the question was, do you get the visa on arrival? So you do. I'll send you the form that you can fill in advance. It's quite straightforward. You go through, and I'll talk you through, you know, people who sign up. It's relatively simple, but you do have to go to sort of 3 desks. So the first desk you give you form, second desk you give you money, third desk you collect your passport stamped. But it doesn't take too long, about 10 minutes or so, and then go through.
If I buy lots of souvenirs, will Sam carry it on the stretcher?
Yeah, as long as they're not sort of animal related.
I was in large animal sculptures or something.
Yeah.
No, but the support vehicle carry your bags and things like that, I imagine, or...
Sorry?
Do the support vehicles carry your bags
Yes.
and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, what people have done in the past is they'll have a little, you know, one of those little bags that you can attach to the bike, that you can just keep your basics in. But we're all together. Obviously, you've got your water bottle, and because we're stopping every 20 kilometres, if there's something that you need, then you can collect that. If you want to take a rucksack on your back, you can, but a lot of people didn't bother doing that. And so all your case, your main case and your sort of travelling rucksack will be on the vehicles. And we do have the vehicle at the front and at the back, so then, you know, that we will get times where lorries or whatever will pass us. And probably the busiest day actually is the first day. And, you know, we'll talk through safety, but we'll be wearing brightly coloured shirts, and we make sure that everyone is safe. And actually, we've never had an issue in the last rides that we've done.
What are the traffic levels like out there then?
It varies depending where you are, but the first ride is going from Lilongwe, which is the capital, heading south towards a place called Blantyre. Both of those are very big cities, the biggest cities in Malawi. So that's why it's quite busy going back and forth there. But then once we go down the Golomoti Road and we get on this smaller road, the traffic's pretty quiet. Then there'll be another busy little bit. Then we get to the Lakeshore Road and it's quite quiet. I'd say generally
it's fine. Like, as you can see from that video, you do get a couple of big trucks, and unlike England, well, not always unlike England, but they don't give really any care to cycling. You know, we're right at the bottom of the hierarchy of people on the road. So when you're anywhere in Africa, for that matter, you see cyclists, they tend to just get out of the way. But I think because we do have the 2 trucks and we're clearly all cycling together wearing much the same thing, it gives them, yeah, the skin colour, it gives them a good heads up. So generally we've not had any problem, but I would just say it's just worth having like a good degree of self-awareness, like, because you can get stuck in maybe cycling side by side when it feels really quiet, and it's worth just being really aware, because you can, you know, these big trucks do just suddenly come, so it's, you know, when the road is good, by all means, like, you know, chat to each other and take in the surroundings, but there's moments where you've just got to kind of be a bit vigilant.
Does everybody cycle at more or less the same speed, or do you find everyone gets spaced out, or how does that work?
So I think because we're splitting it up into sort of 20, 25 kilometre sections, so the initial sort of support vehicle will go ahead, and then we'll agree, you know, a spot under the shade of a tree or whatever at a certain distance, so they'll typically have parked up for some time, and then it's really up to you guys, you know. So I mean, I'll typically be at the back with whoever's the slowest on that particular section, and I'll go at that speed, or we'll take it in turns. So there's no one ever sort of left feeling like they're straggling. But you know, at any given time, there might be one or two people where their legs are feeling really fresh that morning, and they want to blast out 20 kilometres, and you know, we don't want to rob them of that enjoyment either. So by all means, do that until you get to the van, and it should be really obvious. It just means that you'll be waiting for everyone, and we're not going to set off again until everyone's there. So, I mean, like we said before, it's not a race or anything, and it's a casual thing, but inevitably there's going to be little sections, and like the descent, for example, some people just have a lot of confidence in the bike and know within their own ability that they're totally fine freewheeling down the thing, and other people might go down at much the same speed they go up it. And that's just what it is, and we'll just agree somewhere to meet, and we'll just do it like that in stages. So,
I think it's also really important to say it is an experience. So sometimes you'll pass a little market, or you'll pass someone who's carving a canoe, or you know, you see a chameleon or something. Then stop, you know, because it's a time for you to take a photo. You know, you won't have that opportunity again. So we do say. It's fine just to stop. Feels like it's coming from here. Oh. Another question.
When would you like us to make up our minds by? What's a sensible?
Well, it's not long before May, really. And so the sooner you can make your mind up, the sooner, you know, you can book your tickets, and we know who's coming on board. We have had a lot of interest from some other groups that we're waiting to hear from them. We've got the potential. Land and Lakes have actually limited their numbers now because of the one that they did for 50. They said it was just too much. So they've limited it to 20, so we can take up to a maximum of 20. But I would say, yeah, the sooner you can make that decision and sign up, the better.
I'd just also comment, what we notice is airfares go up the closer you are to booking. If you can book 3 months ahead or something, your airfare, you get a much better price. And it's quite a big difference. I mean, I don't know what current prices are, but yeah, so maybe you can just explain, but they will go up to 50% if you left it to a month.
Yeah, and that's for space, really. But I did have a quick look today. So the two ways to go are Ethiopian and Kenyan. They used to do South African, but that's stopped now. The cheapest at the moment is Ethiopian, and that was 768 return. Kenyan was pretty close, 780. Now that's through Skyscanner. When I actually looked on the Ethiopian and the Kenyan websites themselves, they were more expensive. So it's worth going on Skyscanner and having a look. And as Nigel said, you know, they do go up. So it's best.
That specific day.
Yeah.
So you might get within a few days, but sometimes you can knock off £100.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, if you wanted, that's on leaving UK on a Thursday. We have found in the past that Tuesday is actually a quite cheap day, so you might want to go out on a Tuesday and have a couple of days, you know, to just climatise. But yeah, the prices have gone up a lot, obviously, since fuel has gone up. Its flights everywhere have gone up. We used to get them for about £600, but that's what it is now. Steve, did you have another question? No. Right, I think that's all the questions. Anything online, Nigel? No. Hello, Dave. Anyway, thank you very much for coming. And we'll be in touch at the back of the church. There's some refreshments, and if you make sure your contacts are there. Before I go, Heather, did you want to say anything about your experiences or let people talk to you afterwards? Yeah, okay. We were hoping to have some more people here, but as I said, unfortunately some people are ill, can't come. But yeah, thank you very much for taking the time to come. Thank you.